Hi, my name's Mark. I have a few issues. I'm quite new to this. I don't have a great setup, but I'm hoping that it all comes through okay to anybody that wants to listen. Basically, today I would like to speak about conflict, as we have quite a few of those going on across the world. I'm sure you've heard, unless you've been buried in a hole for the last 2 or 3 years. Anyway, I've made a lot of notes because, as I say, this is my first time doing this, and it's a lot to remember. I'd like to start back in 1948. There was a dream with them that the world held dear. This was called the League of Nations back in 1948, put together in the aftermath of World War II, and it took on a life of its own after that, evolving into NATO as we recognise it today. Over 30 member states all signed a pact that they would pull their resources together to defend world freedoms and democracies and provide safety the world over. They were a force for good throughout the modern world. Its duties included maintaining peace and stability, as I say, democracy and freedom. Yet the world we inhabit today is but a shadow of its former self. It's an illusion. It's more about perception and perspective than truth or actual events. We care more about the appearance of effort than the actual effort that we put into something. But it is our own inactions today which we shall be judged on, not the things we have done. It's the things we haven't done, the things we should have done a long time ago. We should have done it back in 2014 when the Russians took Crimea. We didn't do it then. We should have done it a long time ago. It shouldn't have come to this. It shouldn't have come to women and children, civilians, being killed in their thousands, having to go another freezing cold winter with no amenities, not even basic hygiene. It's crazy. And we humans, we are literally the dumbest smart species on this planet. We marvel at our great magnificence over the things we've built and the great strides we've made in science, whilst destroying the very earth under our feet, destroying nature. We destroy things. That's what we do. That's what we do as humans. We destroy, we create, and we destroy at the same time. There is no big mystery why all other species on Earth are either in decline, they're endangered, or they're extinct, except one. Yes, us. Humanity. Humanity is still on the rise, even though we're running out of everything. We're running low on resources. We are devouring all the fossil water, all non-replenishable sources. We're devouring a lot, but we show no sign of letting up or slowing down. Excuse me. This should speak volumes about who we are, really. Ever since the dawn of humanity, we have made war. I don't think there's ever been a decade in recorded history or before that where there has been no conflict, no form of war or conflict that exists. And we still fight them for the same old reasons: greed, jealousy, rage, religious differences. I often wonder a lot about the God question. I go back and forth on it, about God. I question myself, but then I always come back to the same answer. would a supreme deity, a great supreme being, create a species as flawed as we humans are? And we are very flawed. Conflicts should always exist because we are human, and that's what we do. It's coded into our very DNA, our very structure, our very existence. It is what we do. But why not for once, instead of some pointless conflict, why not for once? Let's bring NATO up, to the forefront, and let NATO do what it was made to do and get into Ukraine. This should have been done years ago. It shouldn't have had to take this long. How many innocent people of the Ukraine, are still going to be purged, destroyed, call it genocide, call it what you like. But they're being destroyed as a race by an illegal war from Russia and, a dictator whose only want is to land grab. He doesn't even see the Ukrainians as a race. They're nothing to him. His own people are nothing to him. He cares nothing for. He just wants to win. He doesn't care how many people who die on his side or the other side. He doesn't care about any of that. How many military targets has he gone after since he started this war? He's destroyed, apartment blocks and houses and farms and vehicles, police stations, and how many accurate bombs has he actually sent over that have hit what they're supposed to hit? He's dropped incendiaries on the biggest nuclear plant in Europe. He caused great scares at Chernobyl when they lost contact, and he's threatening the use of nuclear weapons. Okay, so if we have to have a war, then let's pick a fight with them. Let's pick a fight with Russia. Let's end it all before it begins. Right. How many of you are there? How many of you out there who are sick of watching inquiries into everything about what we did wrong, how we should have dealt with it? Let us hear another one about how we didn't act in time or how we could have done more. Let us just once be proactive. Let's be proactive and do what must be done for once before it's too late. Because if, Ukraine have fought like warriors. They humble me every day when I think about them. But in the event, they're pushing the Russians back and they're doing so well. But in the event that there's a turnaround, if Russia was to get the upper hand, then we'll be fighting this war all over again in a different territory. You know that, I know that. And is this what we want? Sometimes I think a lot about SETI. I'm a bit of a space nerd. I like to, see things like that. I think about SETI and why after all the searching, there's been no communication from anywhere in space. It's just dead silent. Well, my answer to that would be that a civilization will evolve to the point its resources will allow, and to the point that it acquires these weapons of mass destructions like thermonuclear bombs, and then it wipes itself out, which has almost happened a couple of times to us. Yeah, that's why I think it's been quiet and we've not heard anything from out there in the great beyond. That's my reason anyway. Anyway, there is only one question as far as I'm concerned. in all of this, and that is how much are you willing to sacrifice yourself for a world that you will never be a part of, a world that you will never see, a world that your children will grow up in, a world that their children will grow up in. But we have to make these sacrifices now so that they can live in a better world. It's not going to change much in our lifetime. I mean, I'm 45 now. I don't expect to see many changes, but I'd like to see the implementation of certain changes. But whether that happens or not, I don't know. I'm going off script a little bit here. Conflict, sometimes there is a peace only to be found on the other side of war. And if that is the case, then I say bring it on. Let's get NATO into the fray. Let's use them for the purpose they were built for, to protect this planet from tyrants, from communism, from Putin's, from North Korea, from places like China, who are just itching to get a shot at Taiwan, to retake Taiwan. But that's never going to happen. The Spanish have got more chance of taking Gibraltar. It's just one of those things. How many more orphans are there going to be in the Ukraine? How many more families torn apart by war? I mean, people say, it must be terrible to live in a place like that, or live under, but we can't imagine what they're going through. We can't think our way into their lives to think how they're living. It's an impossibility unless you're there and you've lived through it. You don't know true fear. I don't know true fear, because I don't know how I deal with a situation like that. I suppose it's one of those things where you don't really know how you react until it's done. But this is an unjust war in Ukraine, totally illegal and unprovoked, brought on by a dictatorship, spreading lies as a reason for land grabbing, just as Hitler did. Putin is an old relic. He's an old relic of the Cold War. And he should have been put down a long time ago, like a lame dog. Put down, like an injured horse when there's no other course of action. That's all you can do. The man has threatened to use nuclear weapons on us. We've not, we've just let it go. We have a nuclear arsenal. We have these as a nuclear deterrent. But unless we are prepared to back it up, it's not a deterrent. It's just words, useless words on a piece of useless paper. It means nothing. A deterrent must be a deterrent. We have to let him know he is not in charge anymore. That we're not going to live, he's not going to spend another 5 decades oppressing different countries or border countries. We're not going to stand for that in this day and age. And if people think we are, then they're going to have another thing coming. Because we don't care what it takes. If it takes 1 million people to march on Moscow and kick down the gates of the Kremlin, so be it. But we need to show these people in this day and age that we will not stand for this any longer. Because logically speaking, NATO, Russia are already winning, because our other enemies around the world are watching this very closely, and they are seeing, whether it's Syria, North Korea, China, or any of them, Now they can see how far they can push the envelope without any repercussions from NATO, and that is not a good message to be sending out there today. We need to have a hard line with these people. That's all they know, and that's the only thing they respect. A hard line, staring down the barrel of a gun. They don't understand diplomacy. They just want to take what they want. They have no interest in sitting in a large room debating. They want to take what they want. And if we let them, that's what they will do. A nuclear deterrent is only that if it's based on the preemptive strike of nuclear ICBMs. We should be fueling these ICBMs. We should let Putin see that we are fueling our ICBMs or our Trident missiles on our nuclear submarines. That's it. That's what they do. They're pushing the envelope. And personally, I'm tired of I give money. I don't have a lot of money, but I give money what I can to the UNICEF. They do great work. I give money to certain charities to help out, my little difference. But we need to get behind our governments because they need our support. War is already here. We're already fighting proxy wars, exactly the same as we did in Vietnam and Afghanistan and, with the Mujahideen. It's just history repeating itself. We never learn anything. We never learn lessons. We never take away anything that we should take away from these things. But let's just this once, let's be different. Let's be proactive. Let us get in there and help these people. I mean, their home their country is wrecked. It's going to cost trillions to fix it. And Russia's oil should fit the bill for paying for it. That will be their punishment, as well as handing over Putin for the war crimes that his soldiers have committed. Anyway, that's the end of my stream. Thank you for listening. And I will be back next time when I will be talking about not just the global climate problem, but the problem overall of overpopulation and the dangers of letting it carry on out of control. Thank you very much for listening.